knowing about drag queens, transgender people, and it's just going to be something that they know this fetish lifestyle.
Oh my gosh!
Yes, he's looking at an image of.
I'm sorry,
one
folks.
of
The
the
radio
drag
audience.
queens wearing a mesh shirt with just only black tape X's on the nipples.
That person was doing like a strip dance, like a strip tease in front of a child.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
Well, it's Monday, November 13th, 2017. I'm your host, Owen Schroyer. I'm joined in studio by Millie Weaver, and we've got a ton of news to cover, plenty of videos, great guests. Millie in studio now, Darren McBreen in studio later. Dr. Shiva going to be joining me in the 5 o'clock Central Hour, Roger Stone in the 4 o'clock Central Hour as usual. And you can see the old-time newspaper in my hand here for the radio audience. I'll shuffle it up a little bit for you. And this was an old story. This was from over a month ago. Sparkle shine at story time. Drag queens read, emphasize individuality at playful event, a first for City Library. Now, this is from my hometown St. Louis Post disgrace. Excuse me, St. Louis Post Dispatch. On Saturday afternoon, 4 drag queens walked into the Central Library to lead story time for a boisterous group of toddlers who packed a large room in the library. The library's first ever drag queen story time was an opportunity to show children about the importance of diversity and inclusion.
You mean an opportunity to confuse the heck out of a bunch of kids? That's what it was.
So that was St. Louis over a month ago. You had the Michelle Obama Library, again, that was about a month ago with the drag queen demon. And I didn't even realize this. Apparently this is a regular thing. I assumed when Michelle Obama did it at her library, that was like a one-time deal. Like no one else is that extreme. No one else is that ridiculous. Only in California at Michelle Obama. No, they do it in St. Louis. They do it in Chicago. They're doing it in the UK. And then you witnessed it in Austin.
You know, when you were saying that, when you were telling the name Sparkle Shine, it seemed so innocent. And the first thing that came to mind was that like My Little Ponies and with the little fanciful little ponies with the glitter and the sparkles, and it's all pretty and rainbow and colorful.
There's the demon that read at the Michelle Library.
But behind the colors and the innocence and the little cute names, you have something a little bit more sinister. We're dealing with a sexual fetish here. And should we be exposing children and even having conversations with them about these type of sexualities, genders, and fetishes at such a young age? And what harmful psychological effects is it going to have on them when they become young adults?
Well, I was watching the video, and I'll be honest, you know, usually, you know, you and I are the first people to get called to do, you know, events that are on the scene and stuff like that. And when I was discussing this with Rob last week, which was a very busy week for us, you know, he was like, hey, there's this tranny thing going on at the library. And I was like, okay, is Millie going to be there? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I don't think I should go to that because I don't think I could have just sat there quietly.
You would have stood out like a sore thumb at this festival, Owen.
Well,
everyone there was rainbow, colorful, like it looked like a big SJW convention with a bunch of drag queens. I went as Rainbow Snatch and I blended in perfectly as Rainbow Snatch, but I think you would have stood out unless you would have dressed in drag.
Of course you blended in as Rainbow Snatch. I'm not dressing up for drag. I don't think Alex has enough money to pay me to do that. But what I'm saying is, I'm not even saying like I would have stuck out just like being there like a masculine guy who actually dressed normal. I'm saying I would have had to say something. I would have seen whatever. I don't think this is from Austin, but if I would have seen something like that, I would have been like, where are your parents? Okay, where's your mom and dad? If I would have seen some guy with a bunch of glitter on his Johnson and a kid rubbing up next to him, I would have been like, sir, this is extremely inappropriate. I probably would have had to be removed from the premises.
That would have been a peculiar question to ask a child as they're sitting there and standing right next to their parents. The parents brought them to the event. They knew that it was going to be mature content. The drag queen's name were very graphic. There are a couple that I can't say.
Yeah, we can't even say them on air.
Some of them I can't say on air. Some I can. One of them was one of them that I can say is Eaton Johnson or Muffy Fish Basket, and it just goes on and on. It's just the most grotesque potty humor, almost like disrespectful to women names that they
It's
give
disrespectful
themselves.
to common sense.
Yeah, look at this image
It's
here.
disrespectful to common decency. But think about this, Millie. All right, you see, here's how you know there's something bigger, there's something larger at stake here. Why would someone go through that much effort? I mean, think about it, that makeup had to take hours.
Probably days. I mean, they were
Right?
caking it on so much, it looked like they caked on several layers. And you would think, how long did that take them to do that? But
So who
aside
does
from
that to read to children, though? That's what I'm saying. If you're going to have it, oh, I'm going to read to children. Wow, that's so great. It's about the kids, right? It's about reading a good book to the kids, telling them it's cool to read books. It's cool to go to the library, you know, read and learn stuff. No, it's all about them. It's all about me. Look at me. Look at my unicorn. Look at my glittery Johnson. I spent hours and days putting my makeup. It's about them. It's not even about the kids anymore. It's about them pushing their sexuality onto the youth.
Exactly. And we're seeing more and more kids decide to be transgender, more and more kids deciding now to be drag queens. And mind you, these are little boys dressed in drag that are being paraded around a bunch of adults. And yes, there were adult men there that were flirting with and, you know, drooling over the drag queens. So it's just a very awkward, inappropriate atmosphere, and kids should not be part of it. If you're an adult and you want to go behave in this fetish, you know, go partake in it. All to, you know, more fun to you. It might have been actually funny and entertaining if I wasn't so grossed out and freaked out that there were
a bunch of kids
in
there.
the audience.
Yeah, exactly. Well, here's what I'm thinking, because I always try to put perspective on things by switching out different variables. Let's say that this was, let's say 10 years ago, Hugh Hefner was going to read to kids at a library. Okay. If Hugh Hefner read to kids at a library, do you know what the outcry would have been from the Christian groups out there, conservative groups out there, probably even liberal media, but nothing for this? No outcry over this sexual. If I went to a library and I was like, hey, kids, I like a nice bustramous woman, you know, and they would have been like, whoa, hey, there's something wrong with you, dude. Yeah, because you don't sexualize children. I mean, this is seriously sick.
So most kids have to have a dress code in school. So why bring a drag queen to come read stories to them that's not even following the school's dress code? I mean, the drag queens are dressed so scantily, provocative. You had one coming out performing in front of the children wearing a see-through mesh shirt with X's, black taped X's over the nipples. And this person had obviously gotten a breast augmentation. And why is that okay to be prancing around in front of children and dancing provocatively? It was disturbing. I will say this. I felt a really icky, gross feeling like I was participating in something this debaucherous. But at the same time, I knew, okay, well, no, I'm exposing this. It needs to be exposed. We cannot have children being sexualized like this.
I mean, you had to stand there and film this.
Yes.
And you're pretty sure that if you weren't wearing your rainbow snatch outfit, that it might have been a problem. They may have tried to shut you down.
Yes, definitely. I think
But because you looked trendy.
Yes, I got some compliments on my rainbow snatch bangs. They're like, those are some wonderful bangs, you know, like comments. But I mean,
they don't even know you're in there.
I will say this. Their outfits were colorful. They were unique. They were artistic. And it would be fine for the most part if it were just consenting adults there engaging in this. But you had a bunch of John-looking guys there that, you know, were handing them dollars, and it just
Whose
had a weird
idea is this?
atmosphere to have kids there.
That's what I'm saying. Whose idea is it? Yeah, it's like you can't even.
It was at a hotel, for goodness sakes. You don't think something more sinister
And they
was
were
going on?
actually giving them money. Like they were giving them cash.
Like strippers, yes.
They were literally transsexual men shaking their ass and kids giving them money. And this
Adult men giving them money and kids getting money as well.
This is sick. Honestly, to properly hash this out, we would have to, honestly, it'd take hours, days, weeks, months to properly present this to you. But it's so shocking. I think that your reaction alone tells you which direction the wind blows here. These are a couple stories out of the UK today. Transgender lessons to be given to nursery children as young as 2. Drag queens are being brought into nursery schools for storytelling sessions to teach children from the age of 2 about issues such as gender fluidity. No, that's not an issue. That's a made-up concept. Okay, so that's Nice.
That's a political indoctrination, and that actually disgusts me to hear that. 2-year-olds, I have a 2-year-old. I could never imagine trying to even explain something along those lines to a 2-year-old. And quite frankly, I would yank my kid from that preschool faster than you could even say yank.
Let little boys wear tiaras. Church of England issues new advice to combat transgender bullying for teachers. Let little boys wear. Here's the thing. There wouldn't be any transgender bullying if you didn't shove transgenders down the youth's throats. They wouldn't know what a transgender is. They wouldn't say, I want to be this or I want to be that. Look, here's the key. And I'm being told I can't even say, I'm being told I can't even say, can't say tranny. This is the last time I'll say it, guys. I can't say tranny because it gets banned on Facebook. So there you go. I won't say it again, but I just had to let the audience know I'm not even allowed to say that word now because it's banned on Facebook. But here's what you were talking about. So they say this event is for people of all ages. They're out there selling body enhancement parts or whatever. I don't even know how to say it.
They were selling like boob pads and butt pads and things that you could enhance yourself with if you're a guy trying to look like a woman.
And so, but what you were saying though was there was a kid that was performing at this thing.
That's right.
And the kid was supposedly a transsexual or drag or gender fluid or whatever the deal is.
Yes, apparently the kid performer dressed in drag supposedly identifies as a female. He's a male. He's 11 years old. And from what we could see, he had 2 mothers that were lesbian partners, and seemed as though they had a sperm donor or something. But it's just a very complicated subject, and you tend
so wait,
to see,
is that the young drag queen that's being literally like a stripper? People throwing money at
him. He'll go and grab the money, the dollar bills.
Unbelievable. Oh my gosh.
Takes off some clothing, throws it. You know, it was just, and this was the main encore right here. This was the main performance. He closed out before the intermission, and they had a standing ovation. They even presented him with a drag queen's rights flag.
This is insane. You were telling me that there were like more than 10 transsexual individuals at this event?
Oh, there were tons of drag queens. A massive list of drag queens.
What kind of a thing is this?
Drag queens dressed very scantily at this event. And I will say this, there were also bystanders, people that came to watch, but they were predominantly SJWs. It looked like a big SJW convention. And the parents that are bringing their kids there are SJW parents.
But
and
why is this being presented as a family-friendly event, Millie?
Because of the liberals and LGBT community trying to make this an issue about tolerance and about, you know, making people feel included.
I see.
Based on their gender.
So gaslight us by trying to sexualize our children and end science, which is end biology, which is 2 genders. They want to end that. So what they do is they gaslight us. They try to pretend like there's not 2 genders to invoke a reaction from us. Then we react like, hey, there are 2 genders. Quit sexualizing our children. And then they say, intolerant, bigot. And you're like, no, I'm just common sense. I want to live in reality. I want to have children. All these people that usually push these things don't even want to have kids. They don't even want families. They hate the family.
You know, it is a destruction of the family. And one of the important things to note here is that these SJW parents are going to overly expose their children to sexualization at an early age. They're going to be knowing about drag queens, transgender people, and it's just going to be something that they know this fetish lifestyle.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. He's looking at an image of
I'm sorry, folks,
one of the
radio
drag
audience.
queens wearing a mesh shirt with just only black tape X's on the nipples.
That person was doing like a strip dance, like a strip tease in front of a child.
But oh, and here's the important part I'm trying to get at here. Okay, when you have children by these SJWs being overly exposed to sexualization, and then those children are going to school with children that have parents that don't want their children to be exposed to this, it's going to be unavoidable. Say I want to send my kid to public school. Well, he's going to have classmates that are going to be being exposed to this type of sexual taboo fetish lifestyle. And then that's going to be forced on him by teachers saying, you need to know that Johnny wants to be Joanne. and you need to understand it, other classmates, so that Johnny can feel like he's being tolerated.
And then we had, and then Alex today was talking about all the CIA propaganda they put into mainstream television, and he was breaking down what he saw from Stranger Things with the attack of the nuclear family. And I think that this is kind of the other end of the spectrum, if you will, where they're trying to normalize the non-nuclear family, or normalize, like in Modern Family, the TV show Modern Family that everybody loves, right?
Yeah.
There's a gay couple, right, that raises a family in that movie, or in that TV show. Yeah, so they have the gay, but that's the Modern Family, though. That's what they're saying. This is the Modern Family. Two gay parents raising a kid. Now, I want to be perfectly clear about this, because I'm libertarian. You know, pretty much whatever you want to do, consensual adults, whatever you want to. Even I don't even know. Like, even with like gay parents, like I don't think that necessarily. I don't think necessarily just because there's a gay two fathers in a family that they can't necessarily raise a kid. There's a lot of gay families that are probably better off than heterosexual families. But the problem to me is that it's a slippery slope, and it's Pandora's box, because for every gay couple out there that is probably well-meaning and just wants to raise a kid and will probably do a great job at it, there's another gay couple out there that is not the same way and has different motives. And that's just the psychological facts about this.
Well, the problem here is that, you know, the LGBT community and liberals like to kid glove LGBTQ community members, so much so that you would have them turned the cheek, essentially, to this bad behavior of exposing their children to this type of behavior, because they would say, oh, it's in the name of tolerance. You know, my child is also transgender, or whatever their stance is, gender fluid. And they're saying that this is
my kid saw a Disney movie and now wants to be a boy, or now wants to be a girl. Oh, the Disney movie that sexualizes kids. Right.
They're getting special exceptions. That's what I'm trying to get at. Whereas if a heterosexual couple, if let's say the mother was a strip dancer and they had a big strip convention and they had little girls participating, but they weren't necessarily removing all their clothes or anything, but it was a provocative type atmosphere where you had adults performing provocatively and then children performing alongside them provocatively while they're dressed provocatively, you would say, this is child abuse. These parents need to have CPS. But because these people are LGBTQ or drag queens, they get special treatment, special exceptions.
But if you're disagreeing, you get fired. TLC cuts ties with Derek Dillard after transphobic Jazz Jennings tweet. Wasn't transphobic. Well, we are about to be joined by Roger Stone. But I want to put a cap on all of this transsexual stuff that's going on. It's just shocking, honestly. I told you TLC cuts ties with Derek Dillard after his transphobic Jazz Jennings tweets. Wasn't even transphobic what he said. He just said he's saddened that this is what entertainment and culture has come to in America. How do you disagree with that? Oh, and by the way, for the loving lefties out there that want to side themselves with everything that is transgenders, Blair White, who's actually been on Infowars before and then was kind of casting shade at Infowars in a recent interview she did, really doesn't matter to me. She can say and do whatever she wants. So, and she does. She goes out. People will probably be upset at me for using the wrong pronoun here. Whatever. Blair White goes out on the streets wearing a Make America Great Again hat and gets assaulted by lefties. You cannot make this stuff up. So again, these people love you until you disagree with them. What does that tell you about their mindset? What does that tell you about their personality? What does that tell you about their movement? These people are in a cult. And so here's more shocking footage. Now it's in New York. Library brings drag queens into story hour.
Getting ready for work. A meticulous process that involves shaving, glitter, hairspray, and a wig.
What am I watching?
But instead of performing in a nightclub,
hi, hello, and
the venue is the Brooklyn
performing.
Public Library.
You hear that?
in Park
Performing?
Slope at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Putting on a show
who
now.
wants to be a drag queen when they grow up?
Little Miss
What?
Hot Mess
Who is ready for a story?
is the host of Drag Queen Story Hour.
It's called Worm Loves Worm.
Talking, singing, and reading.
We can can both be grooms.
to an audience of preschoolers, toddlers, and their caregivers.
Amazing. The hips on the drag queen go swish, swish, swish.
Oh my
swish,
gosh.
swish, swish. Swish, swish, swish.
The library started scheduling drag
Did you
queen
see the
stories
trendy
for last
parent?
year, and is already looking to expand to other locations.
She was dancing.
Story Hour is fantastic because it addresses all of these issues of gender fluidity
This is really sick.
and self-acceptance and all
Self-acceptance.
of these topics that,
Self-acceptance. Oh, pause it right there. Pause it right there. I'm sorry. Now, I'm going to try to break this down, folks. This is such a mental disorder, it really goes beyond the pale. She said it's all about self-acceptance. These people are literally rejecting themselves. How is this about self-acceptance when you look down your pants and you see you have a Johnson and then you say, nope, I'm a woman? That's not self-acceptance, that's self-rejection. Do you understand? It's just, I can't even believe that people need this explained to them. If you are denying your own sex, or if you are denying that you have to mate with a member of the different sex in order to go on, you are living in a self-rejection phase. That is not self-acceptance. It is not self-acceptance to look in the mirror and you be a man and then say, nope, I'm a woman. That is literally self-rejection. And then here's this very nice, educated person breaking it all down. Let's go back to her. Him, her,
And
she,
so is the
it, I don't know.
backlash. Many negative comments have been posted online about the program. The AP has agreed not to use the drag queen's legal name because he said he feared harassment.
But those are people who think that gay people are sinful or evil or, you know,
Why are
bad to
you
begin
getting
with.
dressed up?
So
Why do you
we're
put
sort
on
of just
makeup
starting
for
from such
3
different places
hours to
that it's
perform
kind
for
of irrelevant
kids?
to me.
Because you have an agenda. It's not about the kids, it's about you. It's about your sick sexual agenda of self-rejection.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Fuck you, Nazi!
I'm not a Nazi.
Fuck you, Nazi!
I'm a journalist.
Fuck you, you're not a journalist!
Yes,
Fuck
I
you!
am. Does mommy not hug you
Nobody
enough?
believes you're a fucking journalist! You're a fucking shithead!
Before we even had civilization 6,000 years ago, humans communicated through the clothing that they wore, the society they were part of, what class they were from. And today we see the leftist, the globalist, controlling fashion, controlling culture through Hollywood and through their media systems. But more and more there is a rebellion against that system. Clothing is a statement, and it's essential to make that statement by wearing your colors loud and proud, just like I do when I'm out on the streets of America. So right now, folks, we're going to debut some new shirts and also some of the classics from the Infowars store. This is one of our newest shirts. It's a limited edition. I'm calling it Infowars in your face. It's a navy blue shirt, really high quality, feels great, fits great, with a big red Infowars.com right in the center, and on the shoulder, Infowars.com, and an American flag on a blue background. And remember, WikiLeaks shows that organizations like CNN are owned by foreign multinational corporations hell-bent on enslaving this country. So when you expose them as fake news, you're doing your patriotic duty, and you're exercising your First Amendment in defiance of their bullying, garbage, and tyranny. And on the back, Infowars.com is the standard of real news. And of course, this classic says it all. Need I say more? You want to have a political message out there? You want to state the facts of Americana and stand against the horrors we've seen in Russia, China, North Korea, Venezuela? Then this is the shirt for you at InfoWarsStore.com. Now, if you want to be a little bit more low-key, this is a brand new shirt, hot off the press, of the same great fabric. That's Infowars with an American flag. This is more stealth if you just want to basically reach out to other fellow travelers that are awake to the worldwide revolution against the globalist. And this shirt, the Spirit of 1776, is a great addition to do just that. At InfoWarsStore.com, we've got more than 15 versions of different Molon Labe or Come and Take It in good old-fashioned English t-shirts. And right here on the back, the good old Don't Tread on Me, Infowars.com to spread the word. I designed this baby. It's an AK-47 saying come and take it. And then the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The Second Amendment is the type that fills up the image of the firearm. This shirt is the second oldest shirt in our arsenal. It's been around about 19 years. It's the classic Infowars Tyranny Response Team shirt. And of course, we've seen the NFL taking a knee during the national anthem to basically piss on the American flag. That's disrespectful. But when you fly the American flag upside down and explain under U.S. code that the country is under crisis, it's a symbol of respect for the nation and the flag to point out the country is in crisis. Our republic is in distress. Ask me why. This baby is a classic year-round. Good old camouflage with the day-glow orange hunting, don't tread on me, Infowars. Oh, and this is my birthday suit. Mama gave me this one, so I guess I better go ahead and put another shirt on. I call this the Patriot Rock and Roll shirt. I think the image tells you what it's all about. It's all about freedom. It's all about rugged individualism. Resist tyranny, made in America, 1776. And I've been showing you the fronts of these great shirts. The backs are really cool. Look at that back. That is pure Americana. And I almost forgot, we've got dozens and dozens of great limited edition ball caps available. The Day Glow, perfect when you're out jogging or out walking the dog down the road. And this is my favorite ball cap of over 20 ball caps we put out. It's got the nice patch, Infowars.com, the Don't Tread on Me. This, my friends, is the ball cap that I wear when I'm out and about in town. The crew absolutely loves it as well. Thank you all for your support, and check out the amazing Liberty apparel at InfowarsStore.com.